1 spoon before bed. That is all this takes. Not a supplement, not a prescription, not another expensive cream that promises results and delivers a rash. 1 spoon of something already in most kitchens, taken in the last 30 minutes before you sleep. And the dark spots that have been spreading on your face, your hands, your chest, they begin to fade. Not because you covered them, because you addressed what is actually driving them. Here is a number that stopped me during my residency and that I have never been able to forget. By age 65, the average liver has lost a measurably significant portion of its filtration capacity compared to age 40. Not from disease, from accumulation. Decades of medications, environmental compounds, processed food, hormonal shifts, all of it leaves a residue. And when filtration capacity falls, the body does not shut down. It reroutes. The overflow goes somewhere. For most people, it goes to the skin. Every spot you are looking at in the mirror is your body's way of telling you the internal drain is backed up. And the beauty industry has built an entire economy around selling you products for the drain, while the pipe stays blocked. Here's what almost never gets said at a routine appointment. Skin spots after 60 are not primarily a skin problem. They are a liver problem that shows up on the skin. And when you treat the skin without addressing the liver, you are painting over rust. The spots come back, they deepen, they spread. And you are told, again, that this is just what aging looks like. The truth is, it is not. And the final reason I am going to share with you today is the one most physicians never mention at all, because it lives at the intersection of liver biochemistry and nighttime physiology. And it is the reason that one specific window before sleep matters more than anything you do to your skin in the morning. Stay to the end. That piece changes everything. I am Dr. Ethan Reed, integrative medicine and dermatology physician with over 2 decades in clinical practice. This channel exists because that answer deserves to be heard clearly, completely, and without a copay. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. People who decided that real evidence-based health information is worth having in their lives. If that is why you are here too, subscribe now and become part of that. Every subscriber is a signal that this kind of content matters and should keep being made. It takes 3 seconds and it means more than you might think. Now let us get into what is actually happening inside your body. Your liver is a remarkable organ. When it is functioning well, it processes everything your body absorbs: hormones, medications, metabolic byproducts, compounds from food, and prepares them for elimination. One of its key functions is breaking down excess melanin-stimulating compounds and the hormones that trigger hyperpigmentation, the technical name for those dark spots you are seeing. Here's what is happening inside your body right now. If those spots are spreading, the liver is running behind. Not failing, running behind. The filtration load has exceeded its current processing capacity, and certain compounds, oxidized lipids, excess estrogen metabolites, inflammatory signaling molecules, are being rerouted. Your body's secondary elimination channel is your skin. What it cannot clear through bile and stool, it begins to push through the dermis. The cause is not age itself. The cause is a set of specific, identifiable, correctable physiological processes that slow liver throughput, and most of them are addressed most effectively at night. That is not fear-mongering. That is medicine. Reason 5. Your liver is routing unprocessed compounds through your skin, Most people assume skin spots are caused by sun exposure and leave the conversation there. Sun is a trigger, but it is not the source. Here is what is happening inside your body. Your liver metabolizes compounds that, if left circulating, stimulate excess melanin production. When those compounds are not fully processed, they remain in circulation longer. Your skin's melanocytes, the cells that produce pigment, respond to that prolonged signaling by producing more melanin in localized clusters. That is the spot. It is not damage from outside, it is pressure from inside. A peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology found that adults with measurably reduced hepatic clearance showed hyperpigmentation at substantially higher rates than those with normal liver function, particularly in sun-exposed skin areas. I treated a 67-year-old retired teacher who had used SPF 50 every single day for 11 years and still watched her spots multiply. She came to me frustrated. She had done everything right. When we looked at her liver function markers, they told a different story. Within 8 weeks of supporting her liver's clearance pathways, her skin began to respond in a way that a decade of sunscreen had never achieved. The fix begins tonight. Drink 8 ounces of warm water with the juice of half a lemon, first thing in the morning and again 30 minutes before bed. Lemon citrate compounds support bile production, which is one of your liver's primary clearing mechanisms. The cost is near zero. The effect on bile flow is real. Pro tip most people miss: do this 30 minutes before sleep, not at bedtime. Your liver's highest activity window is between 1 and 3 a.m. Giving it bile-stimulating support 30 minutes before sleep means the compounds are circulating precisely as that window opens. Ask yourself honestly, when you think about your skin spots, are you thinking about your skin or are you thinking about your liver? Reason 4, your cortisol rhythm is disrupting your liver's overnight detox window. Most people have heard that stress causes cortisol. Here's what nobody tells you: what cortisol does to your liver's ability to clear pigment-stimulating compounds at night. Here's what is happening right now. Cortisol is a powerful signaling hormone. In normal rhythms, it peaks in the morning to wake you and falls dramatically by 9 p.m. to allow deep sleep and organ restoration. After 60, that rhythm frequently flattens. Cortisol remains elevated at night, and elevated nighttime cortisol directly suppresses cytochrome P450 enzyme activity, the enzyme family your liver relies on to break down hormonal and inflammatory compounds. When those enzymes are suppressed, the compounds that drive hyperpigmentation recirculate. Your skin is keeping score. A major study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that adults with flattened cortisol rhythms showed measurably impaired hepatic enzyme function compared to those with intact diurnal cortisol variation, particularly in the overnight window. A 71-year-old patient of mine, a retired accountant, healthy by every conventional measure, had spots that were worsening despite a genuinely clean diet. He described himself as a worrier. He slept lightly. His evening cortisol was significantly elevated. We addressed the cortisol rhythm directly before we addressed the skin. The skin followed. The fix: 1 tablespoon of raw organic honey taken 15 minutes before bed. Honey replenishes liver glycogen stores that become depleted overnight, and a glycogen-depleted liver produces a mild metabolic stress signal that sustains cortisol elevation. Restoring those stores reduces the overnight cortisol burden. 1 tablespoon. Start tonight. Pro tip, and this one is critical: the honey must be raw. Processed honey has lost the enzyme activity that makes this mechanism work. The label should say raw and unfiltered. If it does not, it is not the same compound. This single distinction is why most people who try this do not get the result they expected. Reason 3, your bile has thickened, and pigment is building up in the dermis. This is one that most dermatologists never say, and the reason it never gets said is that dermatologists are looking at your skin, not your bile. Here is what is happening inside your body. Bile is your liver's primary export vehicle for fat-soluble waste, including oxidized pigment precursors. After 60, bile frequently thickens. It becomes less fluid, slower moving, less effective as a clearing agent. When bile transport slows, compounds that would normally leave through the digestive tract begin to accumulate in tissue, including skin tissue. The result is a kind of internal staining that no topical product can address because the source is still actively depositing new material. A study in the British Journal of Dermatology found a statistically significant association between markers of biliary sluggishness and surface hyperpigmentation in adults over 60. particularly in the face and dorsal hands. A 64-year-old patient, a woman who had spent considerable money on prescription fading creams, described her spots as spreading no matter what I do. Her bile profile told us why. Her elimination pathway had slowed to the point where topical treatment was genuinely futile. Once we supported her bile flow, the creams she had used for 2 years began to work for the first time. The fix: 1 teaspoon of turmeric stirred into a small amount of warm water, taken as a single spoon before bed. Turmeric's active compound, curcumin, is one of the most studied bile-stimulating agents in integrative medicine. It increases bile volume and reduces bile viscosity. The effect on liver clearance is measurable and real. Pro tip most people miss: turmeric without black pepper is poorly absorbed. Bioavailability can be as low as 5%. Add 1 small pinch of black pepper to every preparation. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption measurably. This is the step most home remedies skip entirely. It is the reason most home remedies fail. Subscribe to this channel. We publish information your doctor does not have time to tell you. It takes 3 seconds. Reason 2. Your gut-liver axis is flooding your bloodstream with inflammatory compounds. Here is what nobody tells you. Your liver does not work alone. It works in direct partnership with your gut. And when that partnership breaks down, your skin becomes the visible consequence. Here is what is happening inside your body. Your gut lining is a selective barrier. When it becomes permeable, a process that accelerates with age, stress, alcohol, and processed food, microbial compounds called endotoxins leak from your gut into your portal blood. That blood flows directly to your liver. Your liver mounts an inflammatory response. That inflammation activates nuclear factor kappa B signaling pathways, which directly upregulate melanocyte-stimulating hormone. More pigment, more spots, and none of it originates in the skin. A landmark study published in JAMA Dermatology identified gut permeability markers as significantly correlated with inflammatory hyperpigmentation patterns in adults over 55, independent of sun exposure history. A 69-year-old woman came to me after years of frustration with fading treatments. Her gut had been disrupted by 2 rounds of antibiotics the previous year. Her skin spots had worsened significantly in the months that followed. She had never connected those 2 events. Once we began repairing her gut-liver axis, her inflammatory markers fell, and her skin responded in a way she had not seen in 5 years. The fix: 2 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar diluted in 8 ounces of warm water, taken with your evening meal 3 times per week. Raw apple cider vinegar supports gut microbiome diversity and helps maintain gut barrier integrity. The acetic acid is the active mechanism. The science behind this is solid. Pro tip, and this one is critical: never drink apple cider vinegar undiluted. It is acidic enough to affect dental enamel and esophageal tissue over time. Always dilute in at least 8 ounces of water. Always use a straw to minimize contact with teeth. This is the version that is safe and effective over the long term. Reason 1, your liver's phase 2 detox pathway has stalled, and 1 nighttime spoonful can restart it. This is the reason that overrides everything else. And here is what almost no one will ever tell you at a standard appointment, because it requires understanding a biochemical process that simply does not come up in a 15-minute visit. Here is what is happening inside your body. Your liver detoxifies in 2 phases. Phase 1 breaks harmful compounds into intermediate forms. Phase 2, called conjugation, attaches molecules to those intermediates so they can be safely excreted. The most important phase 2 pathway for skin health is called glucuronidation. It is the pathway responsible for clearing excess estrogen metabolites, environmental compounds, and oxidized lipids, all of which directly drive melanocyte overactivation when they recirculate. After 60, glucuronidation slows significantly. Compounds that should be cleared within hours begin recirculating for days. They reach the skin. They activate pigment cells. The spots deepen and spread. And no topical treatment can interrupt that cycle because the signal is being generated inside. A major study published in The Lancet found that adults with measurably reduced glucuronidation capacity showed significantly elevated recirculation of estrogen metabolites with direct correlation to inflammatory skin changes in postmenopausal women. I treated a 72-year-old former nurse who understood medicine well enough to know her spots were not merely cosmetic. She had noticed they worsened in the weeks after illness, times when her liver was already under load. She was right. Her phase 2 pathway was the bottleneck. When we targeted glucuronidation support directly, her skin began clearing in a way that surprised even her. The fix, and this is the specific spoon before bed. Combine 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 pinch of black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of raw honey in a small amount of warm water. Stir it into a single spoon or a small cup. Take it 30 minutes before sleep. This combination simultaneously stimulates bile production, supports glucuronidation enzyme activity, replenishes liver glycogen, and reduces the overnight cortisol signal. Each element addresses a different bottleneck in the same clearing pathway. Together, they create a compounding effect aimed directly at your liver during its peak activity window. Pro tip most people miss: the timing is not incidental. It is the mechanism. Your liver's glucuronidation activity peaks between midnight and 3 a.m. Most people take supplements in the morning. That is the wrong window for phase 2 support. 30 minutes before sleep is when this matters. That is not a suggestion. That is physiology. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 reasons do you think has been the biggest factor for you? I read every comment, and your answer shapes what I cover next. Here is the complete protocol, structured by time of day. Every morning, 8 ounces of warm water with the juice of half a lemon before coffee and before food. This primes your bile production for the day and begins supporting your liver's clearance function before the day's metabolic load begins. With your main meal, 3 times per week, 2 tablespoons of raw apple cider vinegar diluted in 8 ounces of warm water, always with a straw. This is your gut-liver axis support, reducing endotoxin load and protecting the inflammatory pathway that drives melanocyte activation. Every evening, 30 minutes before sleep, the spoon. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 pinch of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of raw honey, stirred into a small amount of warm water. Take it in a single spoon or small cup. The black pepper is not optional. It is the step that makes the turmeric work. One preparation warning: do not add dairy to your turmeric preparation. Casein in dairy binds curcumin and significantly reduces its absorption. Use warm water or a small amount of coconut oil only. This protocol costs less per week than a single topical fading serum. And unlike that serum, it is aimed at the actual source of the problem. Here is the complete picture. Your liver is routing unprocessed compounds through your skin because its clearance capacity has fallen behind. Your cortisol rhythm is suppressing the enzymes your liver needs during the night. Your bile has thickened, trapping pigment precursors in tissue rather than eliminating them. Your gut-liver axis is generating an inflammatory signal that activates pigment cells directly, and your phase 2 glucuronidation pathway, the deepest mechanism in this entire chain, has slowed to the point where compounds that should clear in hours are circulating for days. Each of these alone contributes. Together, they create the full picture of why those spots keep spreading no matter what you apply to the surface. This is not inevitable. This is not simply aging. This is physiology. And physiology can be addressed. Your liver has been filtering everything you have consumed, every medication you have taken, every stressor you have absorbed for 6, 7, 8 decades. It has never stopped working for you. Tonight is an opportunity to give something back. Take a photograph of your face today. Put it somewhere. You will find it in 4 weeks. The change in your skin will not arrive dramatically. It will arrive consistently. And when you compare those 2 photographs, you will understand why the timing of that single spoon matters more than anything you have ever applied to the surface. Start tonight, not next week. Tonight, 1 spoon, 30 minutes before sleep. That is where this begins. Subscribe. If this video gave you something real, subscribe. 1 tap, 3 seconds. It helps more than you know. Like. A like on this video is not support for me. It is a signal to the algorithm to show this information to someone else who has been spending money on treatments that cannot work because they have never been told what is actually driving their problem. It is the single most direct way to push this towards someone who needs it. Comment. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 reasons do you think has been the biggest factor for you? I read every comment, and your answer shapes what I cover next. Share. Share this with a partner, a parent, a sibling, a friend. You may never know whose life you change by doing that. I am Dr. Ethan Reed. I will see you in the next video.